I'm Alex Radical from Board Game Co. and today I'm reviewing 3 small box all-play games. I should really say tiny box all-play games because all-play already has like their normal box, their small box, and their tiny boxes. We have For the Emperor, Fairy, and Slambo. I've just recently gotten through reviewing a whole bunch of their small box, not tiny box games, and honestly I was pretty positive on most of those. I thought that most of them were pretty fun to, you can watch those videos, but this one is the sad video. None of these 3 games do I like. I just like, well, 2 of them I don't like, one of them, whatever. I'm not that positive on these 3, so I guess it was bound to happen eventually. I don't know, like, their tiny box series, I've played some others, I haven't reviewed them yet, but I've played some others that I have liked. I'll talk about those in another video. These are the 3 all-play tiny box games that, didn't work for me. I'm going to go through these in best to worst order. We are going to start off with For the Emperor. For the Emperor is a lane battling system. The basic idea of the game is you're going to have a lane over here. So you're going to create this little river on the board. It's a little 7-card river, and you're going to be playing cards to the different sides of the river. I'm only going to loosely set everything up here. I'm not going to heavily focus on showing you absolutely everything. Just want to give you an idea. Then players are going to shuffle up a hand of cards. You're going to draw your cards, and you're going to be playing cards to your sides of the river. The ideal goal is to win more sides than your opponent by the end of it. There's a tie-breaking mechanism. We won't worry about that for now, but you want to win more sides of the river. So I take a card and I play it to the white side, and maybe I go ahead and place this one over here, which allows me to place a +1 token elsewhere on the battlefield that'll add to my strength. So I'm going to grab my +1 token, if I can find it over here, and we place it, let's say, on that lane. So I now have 3 strength in this lane and 1 strength in that lane. I go ahead and draw a card. I'm good to go. My opponent goes ahead and they play a card, and maybe they'll go ahead and play a 1 over here. It's locking up a little early. That 1 is a little dangerous. The 1 effectively doubles the strength of your other cards over here. Now this is a standard lane battling mechanism. What makes For the Emperor unique, and this is a fairly unique little puzzle to solve, is you have these flags. These flags effectively define how many cards can be on each spot. And as you might imagine, we have 7 spots, and therefore we have 7 flags. We have a 4, 2 3s, 2 2s, and 2 1s. And that defines how many cards can go there. The way this works is as soon as you play a card such that that lane now has cards matching the highest flag, that lane, it automatically claims that 5. Now that could be a little confusing, but the basic idea is after I play a card, I say, okay, well this lane has 1 card. 1 is not equal to the max available flag, which is 4, so nothing happens. I play a card, 1 lane is not equal to 4. Versus, as soon as, I'm just going to throw a bunch of cards here without worrying what they do, as soon as I play a card and I say, look, I've now played a card over here, I've now played a 4th card, and because this lane now has 4 cards, it's going to claim that flag, and no longer can we play cards to that lane. This can have cascading effects. So for example, going back to the situation, let's pretend for a second that this is the current board state right now. Right now, both of these lanes have 3 cards. If I play this card to this lane, it's going to claim the 4, but then we'll check, and now this one is equal to a max, which means now that's going to get the 3 card one over there. So you have this aspect that the lanes start closing off based on playing cards there. And to be very clear, you can have all of the cards of the same color. This 3 can be claimed by having all 3 white cards. It doesn't have to have any black cards on that side. And that produces an interesting degree of tension. To a certain extent, as you contribute your forces to different areas, it makes those areas more powerful, but keep in mind, you're only winning 1 lane, but it adds more nuance to how the battlefield develops, because it's going to cascade downwards to the 4, the 3, the 2s, the 1s. Now, there is one card ability that lets you place some flags out before, kind of presetting those lanes, and that's going to be for each side, but overall, that's the basic puzzle of the game. Combine your abilities, try to lock in those lanes, and see who can win each lane in For the Emperor. Overall, this is a decent lane battling system. I like the flag mechanism. The flag mechanism is the thing that I enjoyed about this game. The abilities I found not interesting or entertaining enough for the most part. I found that in many lane battling games, I'm trying to figure out how to use each ability in the way that's really going to help me out, and that's true here as well. But over here, more often than not, I felt like I was holding back my cards to play for when they were most opportune. Very often I wasn't that intrigued by what my abilities are doing. It mostly came down to the numbers in order to try to figure out where you can win. Every player has the same cards in their deck, so you do know that going into it. And then trying to figure out the flag system. So it's definitely interesting, not the worst by any means, but for me, ultimately within the lane battling genre, not one that I would pick out and play. A 2.5 out of 5. And this is the best of the small box games we're doing today. Next up, we have Fairy. Fairy is charming in a way, but also not for me. The only redeeming quality this game has to me personally, again, it's cute, it's charming, I can see it working for somebody else, but it's not for me. But the one time I would play this happily, because why not, is if you're stuck in line somewhere. You're in an amusement park, you're standing in line trying to get a badge at a convention, whatever it is you're trying to do, if you're stuck in line, I would play this, because often when you're stuck in line, after the first few minutes of conversation has run out, after you've played 20 questions 13 times, at a certain point, there's fun to have other things to do, and many handheld games are solo-based. This one is not. The basic premise of the game is you have your little card over here. This is your point tracker. Players are actively going to be holding on. You show your points, you track it by just moving along. You can see it on one side, your opponent can see it on the other side. This is just tracking your points. It's also giving you a quick play aid to these symbols because you have your point tracker and then you have the card in hand. And then you're going to be revealing the next card, but you're trying to predict whether your card is going to be higher, if it's lower, if it's the same suit, there are 3 suits, or if it's a fairy. There are only 3 fairies in the entire deck. That's the entire game. You're basically placing a wager on what you think it is based on these stats. So for example, I'm going to guess lower for this next card, we'll reveal it, and of course it's a 16. I had a 13. The chances of that being higher were slim, but you know, the chances of that being higher were slim, but I'm now going to lose a point. So on my point track over here, I move my little thumb and finger over 1. I'm now at -1 point over there. And now we go ahead and continue that cycle of trying to figure out which card is higher, lower, or whatever than the rest. So we have the 16 now, and again, I think it's in my best interest to say lower, but maybe I want to try to hedge my bets a bit, because even though it's a guaranteed 2 points, I can get ahead because now I'm playing in a deficit. So I'm actually going to go ahead and guess it's the same suit. So I'm going to guess the same suit, we're going to flip it, and it's not the same suit. I'm down a point again. But had I won, I would have gotten 4 points. Higher or lower only gets you 2 points. It's a pretty easy odds to go for. 4 points if you get the same suit, and 7 points if you correctly guess that you're about to show one of the fairies. That's the entire principle of the game. You're basically making little wagers on what's going to happen next. It's not the worst. It really isn't the worst, but it also to me is literally just a guessing game with a handheld wager system. It does have a place if you're waiting in line. That is a time where I think this has a place. Any other time, and I can't see myself ever picking this up and playing, it's basically just an extended guessing game. You could roll a die and play the same game. Roll a bunch of dice and then come up with some basic system as far as guessing based on statistical probability what's going to happen with a general wagering system. I can see people having fun with this. I don't think on that target audience, except in a situation where I'm literally trying to kill time. Like 20 questions is great if you're stuck somewhere. It's a great thing to do if you're stuck somewhere, if you're walking, if you're trying to use a passing the time activity while doing something else. It's not a game I'm going to choose to play at game night. That's how I feel about this. In the right situation, this is actively fun. If I'm going to an amusement park and I have this game in my collection, I'd say, yeah, sure, toss that in your pocket. Not the worst thing to do when you're waiting in that 45-minute roller coaster line. But any other situation, and I would never pick it out and play it, so a 2 out of 5. Moving up to the last one over here, we have Slambo. Slambo is by far my least favorite over here, to the point that I'm almost disappointed that this exists. Like, very, not for me, but I can see people enjoying it. For the Emperor, at least a fun little puzzle, whether or not I enjoy it as much as other lane battling systems. Slambo, I'm kind of disappointed that this is a game. I mean, there's a target audience. This feels very mass market directed. No shame on you. If you enjoy it, by the way, I'm sorry. If you enjoyed it, I'm not here to ruin your fun. I am baffled that this is an enjoyable game. Slambo over here. You start with a basic card in the middle. There's a few other cards. This variants. We're not going to cover the variants, the 3 to 4 player variant. We're not covering the fact that you could adjust that to a 1 to 9 scale on the side. Other things to note over there. But you have these shame cards. You're trying not to win the shame cards because shame cards are how you lose. Gain 3 Haji cards and you are in shame. But you're going to have your hands of cards. Cards are going to basically be either negative numbers or positive number, and you're trying to keep this in balance. If you go below 0, 0 or you're above 10, or if you go 2-0 or 2-10, then you have to cry out Slambo, and that player takes a shame. So for example, on my turn, I'm going to play this -3. I'm going to say the adjusted total is now 2, because it starts off at 5. I'm going to say the adjusted total is 2. My opponent takes a look at their hand, they play a 6. Look at that, the adjusted total is now 8, and I'm going to try to keep that in balance. If I play a 4, it's going to go to 12, and they'll call it Slambo, and I'll take a shame. So I'll go ahead and do -7. That brings it down to a 1, so they're going to play a positive card. They play a 2, so it goes to 3. I'll play a 4, so it goes to 7. They play a -4, so it goes to 3. I play a -1, so it goes to 2. They play a 3, so it goes to 5. And that's basically what you're doing, by the way. You're just literally playing cards to keep it within balance of 0 to 10. Until eventually someone does cross that line, you call it Slambo, they take a Haji card. First player to take 3 Haji cards loses the game. I'm not entirely sure what the game is here. Like, is the game a puzzle of who's bad at math? Is there an optimization of how to play your cards in a way that further pushes somebody the wrong direction? I feel it kind of just comes down to the cards you have in hand. It's like playing War, but just less fun. Like, War, literally, the card game War is a better game than Slambo from all accounts of what I can see. Granted, there's no real decisions in War, but there's no real decisions in Slambo either, at least not that I can really tell from the experience. But War at least has, like, a greater sense of, like, what's going on. Like, you get those massive wars, those triple wars. Those are at least some iconic moments when you play War. Slambo is, the worst all-play game I've ever played. And again, I'm generally pretty positive on all-play games. I think they do a fantastic job as far as giving you easy-to-learn games that are often very affordably priced, fit in small boxes, which means shelf spaces that, at a premium. They're easy to learn, easy to play. I generally think all-play does a fantastic job. Slambo feels, like, even Fairy's not for me, but I still respect and understand who this is for, and, like, these not for me, but still there. Slambo is just 1.5 out of 5 for me, and I debated giving this a 1. I did debate giving it a 1, but honestly, a 1 is so hard to get on my rating scale. It's not impossible. Games can get a 1, but it's got to be, like, really, really broken, not just a not fun experience. Yeah, so Slambo's a major pass for me. Anyways, those are your 3 all-play games that small, tiny boxes didn't work for me. Slambo, complete pass, a 1.5 out of 5. Fairy, I can see the charm in it. It's got a place, but most of the time, I'm not going to play it. A 2 out of 5. And for the Emperor, the best of the bunch, but I think I just prefer other lane battling systems, a 2.5 out of 5. In any case, until next time, I am Alex Radical from Board Game Co. I hope you found this helpful in some way, and as always, I hope you have a good one.